All right, let me get my mic on too. Sorry, I'm a little slow to start today. It's been a minute, especially with all of the testing and stuff. It's been kind of a funky week. Okay, so what are we doing today? And then fourth period is doing tomorrow. We're talking most specifically using the new template on how to make new pages. This is how you do these different assignments or different projects all in one folder, so you don't have to do a lot of submitting. We're going to talk about how you make a new page. We're going to talk about a specific way to do images. You're going to notice this one has a capital I instead of a lowercase I, and it's spelled a little bit differently. And then we're going to talk about assignment number 5, which is currently live in Canvas, but it's pretty bare bones because I want us to focus on it one piece at a time, right? Breaking it up into smaller chunks. The reason I've asked you for your entry task to find a fictional villain or think of a fictional villain that you enjoy and collect more than 5 images is because we're going to use those images a little bit later, talking about a new method that uses React instead of HTML to make our websites a little bit more modern functional, okay? The theme for the week, continued practice using the terminal. Again, we're shifting more into React. We're going to do deployment towards the end of this week now that we have an official framework, and you'll have the small assignment number 5, defend the fictional villain, okay? What we're doing today, I'm going to show you how to create a new page all the way to linking it to your navigation bar and adding all of the correct exports, etc. And then I want to show you how you can add images inside of our new return container. Remember, that's where we're focusing as our HTML start and stop. Once I get last week's page like archive working, you can see what we did there and what resources are available. It's also posted public on YouTube, so you can find it there as needed. Okay. Your outcomes today: practice making new pages and practice using something called a prop and a component. They're very similar to elements, but they're more like advanced sandwiches because they have some more steps. And if y'all remember PowerPoint parties from a while ago, assignment number 5 could turn into a pretty funny PowerPoint for a PowerPoint party. Okay. Entry and exit like normal. We're going to talk about A5 here in just a second. By the end of today, you know that you're getting it because you understand that each page in React is in its own subfolder. You understand that comps have props, components have properties. Some are required that change how they work. And React components are generally green. Classic HTML that we know and love is blue. So we'll get more into this a little bit later once I've actually shown you what we're doing. Okay? So if you go to your homepage in Canvas, you're going to see this assignment number 5, defend the fictional villain right here, as well as 2 links on how to create new images, okay? Not create new images from scratch. Put existing images onto your page in a new way. So if we look at the assignment, what I'm actually asking of you, by the end of these processes, by the end of the things I'm going to show you over the rest of this week and a little bit of next, I want you to choose a fictional villain or antagonist who you think was onto something, had good points and intentions or bad methods, or overall was generally misunderstood. And we want to keep those villains as school appropriate as possible. These villains can come from any piece of media: books, movies, music, TV, comics, etc. But you want them to be generally school appropriate as you're doing. Your task is to use what you know. By the end of this assignment, once I teach you all the pieces, use what you know about HTML, about communication, and what you'll practice using React to try to convince other people that this villain did not actually do anything wrong. Okay? So keep in mind, the reason I had you choose a villain right at the start is because you'll want to defend their actions fictionally, right? Okay, anyway. What we're going to focus on today is images, because you can see it's 512, 513, 5 or more, so you get lots of practice using that new image property, and we'll worry about more as you learn them, so just focus on the images for today. Okay? And we're going to complete it by Monday the 18th, which is next Monday, so you have some time today and otherwise to get it done. Okay? Does that make sense? Kind of understand generally what I'm asking based on this really basic assignment here? Okay, sweet. All right, let's get into VS Code. So let me open my correct folder if you haven't done this yet. You want to open that up. Mine is, I always forget where mine is. I think for 5th period's in the documents. Let me find out real quick. Maybe not. Maybe it's just in my straight up OneDrive. No, it's in my 2025 folder, then web design, and then there it is, P5-May-Blakeney. Remember, this is kind of serving as our notebook check. This is serving as, like in your science classes, you do all your assignments in one big notebook. turn it in at the end of the unit or the semester or whatever, and it's got everything contained within there. Okay. This is a reminder. This is remembering the steps that we talked about last week. Can anybody, actually let me close my terminal out completely here. Can anybody remember how I turn my car on? How do I get my server started? What's the first step, Kara? Where, am I missing something on my screen right here before I do that? How do I get my bottom part back? You want to open up the terminal by clicking on the either 3 dots or 3 lines or the word terminal, and we want to find a new terminal right here. Okay, and then you said there's a little triangle, right? It's which little triangle am I looking for? This one? Perfect. Yep, I'm going to take my launch profile, my little triangle right here, and I'm going to change it to command prompt. Okay, thank you, Kara. Can anybody else tell me the command that I need to input in order to get my car's engine running right at the start of the period? So it's saving and quickly updating or as we make changes. Anybody remember it's 9 letters? Technically 8 because 1 letter is used twice. Period. What? Period. Not period. Close. That's P5, the main blade. Anybody remember? Run is part of it. Yeah. Run is 3 letters. What comes before run? NPM. Yeah. So NPM run. What's the last 3 letters? Dev, development. NPM run dev. So we're going to go NPM run dev. And then once I hit enter, what am I looking for? Some spinning. Yeah. There's 2 colorful things. What am I looking for? What's one of them? It's purple. It's a purple shape. What's the purple shape? Spoiler alert, I'm making it with my fingers up here. It's a triangle. We're looking for the purple triangle. Okay, so that's one of your colorful things. The other colorful thing is the green check mark. All right, so when I hit enter, I'm going to look for that purple triangle where it says Next.js 15.5.9, and then I see 2 green triangles starting and ready. Okay, last step. How do I start actually seeing my output? Remember, that's the version of the code that the user actually interacts with. How do I get that open? That's how you close it. Good memory. But how do I get it open? When you type something into the search bar, what's that thing at the top? The URL. Do any of these around our purple triangle or our green check marks look like a URL? Yeah. What? Which ones? Local. Exactly. My localhost 3000 right here. I can hover over it and click on this blue follow link, or I can hold the control key until my mouse turns into a little finger and then click on localhost. So now you're going to see my terminal do some thinking, and it's going to work correctly once we see get 200 in a certain amount of milliseconds. Okay? I can hear y'all celebrating already. Hold the celebrations. You're going to crash your computer. All right, so it's going to open up my Discount Time Machine Wholesale inside of a new tab. And you remember from last week when I did all of the burger emojis, those are still here because I saved them last. All right, this part of the day is us just getting set up. The reason I'm going about it a little bit more quick is because it's recorded in last week's video, as well as something you'll be doing a lot. So I don't want to spend the whole time doing that every single time we do something. We're just getting set up, getting our car running, getting ready to start making some new stuff. Okay, so you can see right here on line number 51, that is where I have a bunch of code that's actually displaying because it's that classic old blue HTML. And when I highlight them, it's also going to highlight similar ones. Since all of these are the burger emojis, it's all in one big line. Okay, I'm going to click on my number 51 and I'm just going to delete that, because I don't need those burgers on my page anymore. I'm gonna also take out these HTMLs. If you remember from last week too, we put a comment that just comments all of this stuff out. We can save it for later if we need, but we're still inside of our return bucket right here. Okay? Is this sounding familiar? Do you remember this from last week? Cool. The point of showing you all this again is to get us to a spot where our code actually displays. Now, before I do anything else, can anybody tell me why I've deleted the burgers from my input, but they're still on my output? Adi. I haven't refreshed or saved. How can you tell I haven't saved? there is a white dot right here. So in order to clear your white dot, you can either hold Control and press S, or you can go File, Save. And once I save, the burgers go away. Okay. These are the kind of things that'll happen the same way every single time. Meaning, the sooner you do these kind of steps, getting your project open, getting your terminal running, getting your output visible, the quicker we can get to the actual doing assignment number 5, project number 4, or number 3, I think, whatever's needed from there. Varnica, you've had your hand up. Do you need a specific question or a general question? Okay, you wait for Jake. All right. So, are we at this point? Okay, not yet. So let's start there. Let's get everybody to this point so I can start talking about images and props. If you're already here, sit tight. Here's your opportunity to play some Snake, play some Minesweeper, play some Solitaire. But once I'm back up here teaching, I need you locked in. Okay? Don't close the screen share. Don't close the screen share. Okay. So let's get... How do you create an image using React instead of HTML? The first thing you need to know is the important part is that you can consider React pieces. If we go back to the Legos analogy, each React piece is also called a component, okay? As compared to an element, they are very similar, but they behave a little bit differently because components sometimes need additional instructions, just like more advanced Lego sets, in order to function, okay? And the components we're going to be looking at today are in your resources on Canvas. Go to Home, go to Tuesday. We're going to be looking at React images, okay? Now, there is a lot of text on this page that we're not going to worry about, okay? Because I'm going to show you exactly how to create an image, and I'm going to show you exactly how I found out to create an image in case you want to try something off of this site at a later date, okay? So, let's see if it works right here. The point of this is to display images with support for fallback. That's something we'll worry about a little bit later, but it behaves the same way as the HTML IMG. The reason we would do this one is because, one, our React instructions prefer to use its own pieces. It works a little bit faster. Vercel likes it a little bit more. It's good practice for using React instead of just basic HTML. Those are the pros. It also later on has, it's got some benefits to how fast your website loads. So maybe if you remember in our old HTML, when you had big pictures, they took forever to load. By doing this, they load a lot faster and then they stay loaded for future stuff. Anyways, so if we look at the code, you can see something that looks similar right here underneath the usage section. We have a return bucket like I've been talking about in class so far, right? The image component has 3 properties that look very, very similar to the HTML one, right? Properties are really similar to attributes in the way that they are parts of the whole being the image, the alt text being required description in case it doesn't load. The SRC, anybody remember what the SRC is? The source. Perhaps you have a whole bunch of sources on your entry task that might be useful to have copied and pasted in case you want to access them later. Anyways, hint, hint, wink, wink. We go back to our... Where did my image go? I lost my image. Here it is. Okay, and then it has a width, and we'll leave the width. We'll get to the width here in just a second. Okay, out of curiosity, what do you notice is different if we just look at this part right here, this image part, compared to old HTML? It's got one thing that's a little bit different that I've highlighted right at the top. Any guesses? It's a capital letter. The capital letter is very important because almost all React components are going to start with this capital letter. They're also going to be this kind of minty green instead of the blue that you're used to with the regular HTML because they have sometimes a little bit more requirements. Okay? So what I would like y'all to do, and I will help you, Jake will also help you, is we're going to start practicing creating images using the sources from your entry task. Claire Gaffney, that is a full screen snake. Thank you. Let's create some images, okay? So if you type out a capital IMAGE, notice I'm not doing any shift commas. Notice I'm not doing any additional formatting. Let me get my output right here. So let me start that over. Capital IMAGE and then hit enter. It's going to automatically add a start and a stop tag. This is not necessarily required with React components, but for the first one, I'm going to keep it. For the second one I'm going to show you, I'm going to cut it to show you two different versions of how to do this. What do you notice about line 51? It's got a light bulb next to it, but something else. Is it mad at me or is it happy with the image I've written so far? It's kind of upset, right? VS Code, being an integrated development environment, being a smarter way to write code than just the notepad, because it's got all these different tools. If you hover over that, it's going to give you a big wall of yap about the specific error that's going on there. Okay? What it's saying is that this image cannot currently be used as a JSX component because... Hold on, I'm trying to figure out how to word it. Because it doesn't have all of its components yet. Or it doesn't have all its properties yet. Let's add those properties in right here, okay? So if I hit enter a couple times, give me a little bit of space to work. There are 3 required components for a React image. I'll say IMG when I'm talking about the HTML one. I'll say the full word image when I'm talking about the React one, okay? So we're talking about images. It needs alt text. So if you type out alt, then hit equals, quotes, like so. We're going to define this because I'm using Magneto as my example for this project. Let me go get my, where did my entry task go? Hold on. Sorry, guys. Let's go to my entry task. I have a link right here that if I click on number 1 is going to take me to an image of Magneto that I found earlier, okay? That I've isolated as well. I've got a source, so I'll copy this in just a second. I'm going to finish my alt text and type out Magneto with full helmet, okay? Kind of like you see in your history textbooks, the little captions underneath, or science textbooks, the little captions that are underneath your pictures in there. You want your alt text to do the same thing. It's got to be a little bit descriptive, okay? Next up, I'm going to need my source by typing src, hitting enter, and then quotation marks, like so. I can paste my source in there. Oops, that is not my correct source. I want this one. So I'm going to copy that and paste it. Make this a little bit, if you want a little extra working space while you split your screen, because my monitor is the same size as yours, you can click on the Explorer button at the top right here, and it will make it a little bit smaller. Okay, let's check out my output. My output's not upset with me. It's still loading. If I refresh, it still works, even though our code is a little bit busted. Okay, and we also need some width on our document right here, which I'm just going to set to width equals quotes. I'm going to use curly brackets or braces so that JSX can do a little bit of extra thinking for me. And I'm going to set this to 100. The
quotes will go inside.
The quotes go inside the braces. Okay, perfect. All right, so the quotes go inside of the braces if even necessary.
It's actually numbers you don't need quotes.
Yeah, so numbers you don't need quotes. If I did wanted to set it to a specific pixel value, I would need quotes. But because we're just doing 100, my computer can make the guess. All right, so once I save my work, let's see what happens. Oops, not that. Once I go in and save my page.tsx, let's see what happens. Something has gone wrong, okay? I've done this intentionally to show you that sometimes things break, okay? The cool part about using a framework like React, the cool part about using these sandbox of pieces that have a lot of documentation is they have a lot of things like this issue tracker that is going to tell you in a lot of detail what exactly has gone wrong, okay? So I got a bunch of stuff going on with my call stack. Let's figure out why my image constructor new is required. I think it's because I haven't imported the image yet. Let me see. Let's just say client. Oh, it does have use client. Okay, cool. All right. So what you're seeing, because we've told our computer to use a React component and we didn't tell it to go to the store and get that React component, we got to go back up to the top of our page TSX, right around lines 1, 2, 3, etc., where you can see a lot of these import phrases. How many of y'all have taken something like TV Pro or Yearbook or something where you've seen that word import before? Okay, can anybody give me a definition for import? Or what about shipping, right? Imports and exports. What happens when something is imported? Is it coming in or going out? It's coming in, exactly. So we need to tell our computer to import what we need for image in order to get this functional, okay? So I'm gonna type out the word import. But what if I don't know what to import? What if you're a first-year web design student and all of this is very overwhelming and you have no idea what's going on? That's what documentation is for, right? And it might not be the most helpful, but it does have everything that you need in order to get it functional. Very simply, we have to tell our computer that we want to use the React version of an image, which as you can see matches right here with the capital I, and we want to put this in the top of our code. All right, so I'm going to copy that because I don't want to do all that writing, and I know it works if I do it this way. Control V. Suddenly, my computer's happy. If I scroll down, you're going to see image is nice because we told it to go to the store and grab an image. Let's see if my output is also happy. All right, if I save, not that again, shoot, sorry, wrong button. Magneto appears. Okay? This seems like a lot of work. A, because it is. But B, because the more you get practice with React components and the more you do React components in ways that you've done with HTML, the more it will start to make sense. Okay? Now you're going to see my image, unlike HTML images, is kind of acting like a container, right? With a slash image at the end of it. Because it's the minty green one though, I know it's a React component. I'm going to show you how to make one more image, and then Jake and I are going to help you add up to 5 of your images from your entry task onto the page. Okay? Does that make sense? The cool part about a React component is they're very efficient. A big point of us using this language and this framework is to make our sites load faster, do cooler things, and be more industry standard. Okay? If you're trying to become a developer of anything, apps, AI models, web sites, etc. Basic HTML does not cut it anymore, unfortunately. It is not 1991, right? It's 2026, almost 2027. Anyway, point is, React components are very, very efficient, meaning I can type, if I wanted to type out the full the full version without using shortcuts, shift comma, IMAGE, and I can do a space / shift period. Now what I've done, in essence here, on line number 56, where you can see the light bulb lives, is I've taken this image container and shortened it to have the start tag and technically the end tag on one single line. Okay? So you'll see, as you look around at more different React components, I'm going to add some enters so we have our container here on line number 57. If you look around, you're going to start to see that not all of almost in the more efficient code, and we'll get to something called linting a little bit later. In the more efficient code, a lot of them just have a / close instead of a full end tag. This is where React will differ from HTML a little bit more further. Okay? In case you want to leave yourself a comment, remember the comment shortcut is, we'll call this image number 2. Because it's on its own line, I can hold Control / and it will comment it out. So when I go back later and review my code, I know this is image number 2. Okay. What is the first of 3 required props for a React image? You can see them on lines 52, 53, 54. Somebody I haven't heard from yet. Where do I start? What should I put? What property for my component should I put first? Starts with an A. Anybody? I don't know, man. I don't know how to do this. Give me your best guess. It's on line 52. What's on line 52? Alt, thank you. Okay, so how do I get this to become functional? Do I need any mathematical symbols in order to get it working? I need an equal sign and then parentheses. Okay, so this is going to be my second Magneto picture. If we go to my entry task, we're going to look at this one. This is the live action Magneto. We're going to use this. We'll use these positions a little bit later. Okay, so my alt text, because I want it to quickly describe what's going on in case my image doesn't load. This is the live action Magneto. Okay, I need 2 more props. They are on lines 53, 54. What is the next prop that I should add here? Source. Source is shortened to SRC. And you're going to see if I type it out, it's going to have an SRC question mark. VS Code wants you to be quick. They want you to not waste your time in the good way. Not in a way that rushes you. It wants to help you out with these autocompletes, okay? So I'm going to take my source from my entry task. Number 2 is this guy right here. Copy it, paste it, and then I'm going to move on to my third and final required prop, which is what? I heard it. It's width. Good job. Hit enter, and I'm going to set it to 100 again. We can customize that a little bit later. Control S to save. Let's go check out my output. And now I have my 2 images stacked on top of each other. And now you might be thinking, Mr. Blakeney, this is a really long and annoying process in order to do what we already know how to do with IMG. I know. I understand. I'm not doing that on purpose. Practicing creating these components is the point of this lesson. I know you know how to make an image. I want to show you a new way to do it so that you know how these React pieces come together. Okay? Does that make sense? Another thing I want you to remember is I don't, just like with HTML, I don't expect you to memorize every single piece of every single tag, especially now that they get more and more complicated. I want you to practice something called source coding, okay? I've got 2 images that I know work. Instead of coding them all from scratch, I copy and paste what I already know works and adjust as necessary, like so. I can highlight lines 50 or 60 to 56, Control C. I like to go bottom to top. You can go top to bottom if you want, but going bottom to top helps me work backwards a little bit. Anyways, not the point. Enter, Control V, Control S. Now I have 2 magnetos, but all I need to do is change my source to my third one right here, which is Comics Magneto with this like hero type image. So I changed my source because I'm working backwards from bottom to top. Control V, and I'll change my alt text from live action Magneto to cool wide Magneto or something like that. Whatever, that's Magento. Magneto. Okay, Control S. Now when I go back to my output, I've got a new version right here. Don't worry about the sizing. We'll get to the sizing later. Okay, that's an important later on part. Okay, does this make sense? Generally speaking, I know it's long. I know it's annoying, but it's worth your time. Trust me. And the more you practice it, the easier it gets, like I've been mentioning. So it's a perfect time to practice. Let's take our images from our entry task and practice adding them with React instead of HTML. Okay? On your thumbs, upside or down, how are you feeling about what I'm asking? It's okay. It is okay if there's thumbs down. It is mine and Jake and Miss Cameron's job to get you understanding it. And you have until Monday. It's not due today. Okay? Cool. All right. So I'm going to have you, or we're going to come back, keep the screen share up, because we're going to come back and talk about why at the last like 15 or so minutes of class. Right now, I want to make sure everyone understands the pieces of an image and how you can start practicing. Okay? So Jake and I will be around here in just a second. Tasks, super quick, explain why we're doing this and also to show like what the point is, right? You know you've applied what we've got today by being able to make a capital I image in the return that functionally loads. Your page renders, loads, and updates, meaning it happens when you create it, or it happens when you npm run dev. Everything is on there in the right spot, and when you make changes, it automatically updates. And we didn't get to the nav bar, and we did not get to new pages. We will do that tomorrow. Okay. Why are we doing this? My goal is to best prepare y'all for what you could, you could encounter in the web design world. Okay. So by having more pieces, hold on guys, I'm still talking. Wait a sec. By having more pieces with more advanced practice, you become a stronger candidate for different jobs, right? By getting to choose your images, getting to choose the villain that you're choosing to defend. Hi, welcome back. You have, this is more worth your time instead of just some random yap from Blakeney. Understanding the nuances to villains is also good practice in media literacy. And then by continuously applying old practices in new methods, it's going to make your brain more wrinkled, okay? Which is good. You want wrinkly brain. For your exit task for the last couple minutes, you can get your phones now, though. Do you think your entry task villain is in the wrong? Why or why not? It's an important thing to consider. Okay? So, that's the last I need from you. Great job today. We're going to talk extra pages tomorrow. I skipped that step on accident. So,
I want to sign this.
okay. When are you going? Oh, on the 9th. Are you coming back? Okay. So that's your last day. Are you coming back to America?
Probably not.
Okay. Well,